Welcome back to Bold of You to Say. We're back with another episode. We bring the heat. You know,
we bring the heat.
You know how it is. We're back with another episode. We talked a little bit about Kanye, kind of dissected what the fuck is going on with this guy.
He's not bringing the heat. He
is. Quite frankly,
he's bringing some heat, but not the good kind.
Not the kind of heat that you want.
No.
Yeah. Dude is being exploited by people around him, and you got to feel bad for him for that, but also maybe he shouldn't be talking about the Jews the way he is.
Listen, there's a difference between being mentally ill and doing something about that versus just being anti-Semitic.
Yeah. If I could speak on behalf of Kanye West right now, I would say, shit. Anyway.
And also take your meds.
Yeah. Anyway, like and subscribe, share the show with a friend, tweet our episodes, tweet our clips, play them out loud at work, play them in the park. Anyone that can listen to the show should and will. And that's not a threat, it's a promise. There are timestamps in the description, so you can skip around if you want to skip a certain part, or if you just can't wait to get to a certain part, it's listed out below. Use it if you want. Can't stop you. Can't make you.
Yeah. We can't even make you be indifferent. That's the thing. We are powerless.
I can't stress enough how much freedom you have in this situation.
Listen.
Really, it's up to you.
It's a free country, unless you're a woman.
Yeah, unless you need an abortion, or if you just want to walk down the street while black. It's less of a free country in those situations.
Unless you want to pay a fair amount of taxes relative to your income.
Yeah, or if you want to, survive without signing your life over to a major corporation. Yeah.
Or if you want universal health care, to not go bankrupt over something that's preventable.
Yeah.
Preventable.
That's what I meant to say. Think of it this way. Under this system, we have choice. You can pay up, or you can die. Freedom.
Freedom.
Really, we need Medicare for all who want it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some people should fall through the cracks. I think there is an acceptable number of people that can die.
Alex, I'm trying to segue off this topic. Anyway.
You want to jump into it?
Yeah. Lastly, we are prophets from God. Let's start the show.
Yeah. So you've heard about the stuff going on with Kanye West, right?
What? Kanye West? I hardly even know her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have, and it's so tasty and delicious.
It's unexpected how brazen he's been.
Is it? Is it really? Is it really?
It's
It's Kanye West, Alex.
Okay, I will say
this man got on live television in 2004 and said with a straight face next to Michael Myers, George Bush doesn't care about black people, Alex.
Okay, that was based. That was awesome.
I'm not disagreeing with him, but to say this is unexpected?
Well, okay, you know what?
No,
that is a bad example.
I expect this from Kanye.
That's a bad example.
I expect him next to be like, also, My Little Pony is a decent show. I expect him to say that next.
Look, that's a bad example because going from George Bush doesn't care about black people to the Jews are controlling my life. That's a pretty big. I'm getting
I'm
whiplash.
Arguing that's a big leap. What I'm saying is I'm not surprised that Kanye West of all people is saying this.
No, I will say if it was gonna be anyone that starts going off on the Jews, he'd be on my short list.
I bet he gets invited to Mel Gibson's house all the time. Yeah. I bet they're having some good old times.
Yeah, and they hang out with Walt Disney's frozen head.
Yeah. You know what's funny too? Kanye is now, I guess, conservative and Christian. He doesn't understand that Jesus was a Jew.
No, he was one of the good ones. No, it's the way I see it.
And by the way, when I say Jew in that sense, I don't mean it derogatorily. I want to point that out to any future employer. I mean that as a person who is a believer in the Jewish faith and not derogatory. I don't mean that to be derogatory.
I know there was one comedian. It might have been Louis C.K. I know there was one comedian
who is Jewish.
Yeah, I know there was one comedian who had a bit about how like Jew is the only word that is like the technical name for a group of people and also the slur that you call them.
Right.
Like it's all in how you say it. Like, hey,
Like,
yeah, my buddy's a Jew, or like my buddy's a Jew.
Or you have to be like, my buddy is of the Jewish faith.
Yeah, no, you have to say Jewish, or else like you're kind of on thin ice.
Well, yeah, but okay,
you know what I mean. Like, oh, the Jewish people are they do this or whatever. Like
I mean,
when you say it like that, it's like you're talking about a culture. It's like they have this tradition and they do whatever.
But I don't think I should say it.
But when you say the Jews, like it always sounds like you're talking about like, oh yeah, they control the banks.
Yeah. Like, no, I don't mean it in a bad way. I literally mean people of Jewish faith in a non-derogatory manner. Yeah, that's the long and short of it.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, Kanye has been like kind of unhinged for a long time.
What? Kanye West, Alex? Really? I didn't get that at all. I didn't get that idea from him at all.
Remember when he said something along the lines of, my biggest regret in life is that I'll never be able to see myself perform live?
Remember when he said on live radio that he thinks he's a god?
Yeah. Yeah.
Alex, I'm not surprised. I'm really not.
Yeah. The way I see
really
it,
not.
Kanye West is like the worst outcome for a gifted kid. Because he kind of has the like he's on the gifted kid track.
Listen, I think he's mentally ill.
Mm-hmm.
And not like oh, he's just crazy. Like I think
he is. I think he has
a good mindset right now.
Yeah, I think he's like bipolar.
He's literally diagnosed bipolar. But
yeah.
Beyond that, I think he's probably dealing with a lot of baggage with his like recent divorce and
getting his girl stolen by Skeet Davidson.
Right. I mean, I don't know Kanye West, so I can't say.
Yeah.
But like this isn't something I'm not surprised that he's doing because it's Kanye West, but like something that I look on with pity.
Yeah.
Because this is a dude falling like not even from he fell from grace a long time ago, but
right.
Like,
well, but you know what I mean? Like he's on that kind of gifted kid path where like I don't know much about him personally. I don't know like about his early life or anything like that. But just
no doubt he's talented. But
looking from the outside, like everyone around him has called him a genius so much. Like everyone in the media has treated Kanye West like he's like the greatest musician of all time. Mm. And like I think he's really internalized that.
I mean, yeah. But also like he might be a genius at some things like music, like rap.
Yeah, I don't really
like that.
I don't follow his career, so I don't know.
In a certain mindset, he might be a genius at that stuff.
Yeah. But I think he's internalized that to a degree that he, like you said earlier, he's like, yeah, I'm God, or God speaks through me. I am Jesus, basically.
You know what's funny? And so in Jerusalem, I think it's Jerusalem, they have like a mental situation thing there that happens to tourists who go to Jerusalem and then think that they're literally Jesus.
I need more information, I think.
I don't, that's all I really know. I forget what it's called. You might have to Google it. But
I'll look it up later.
They go there and I guess I'm not sure even how that mindset even starts, but they think that they're the second coming of Christ or something.
Yeah, what, because they went to a place?
Yeah.
A heavily populated
really
place
relate to it.
That billions of people go to?
Yeah.
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 I'm so unique for
So what I'm saying is don't bring Kanye to Jerusalem.
Oh man, I kind of want to now just to see what happens.
Yeah,
you know?
kind of.
Like see how much it like compounds.
I don't want to just like fly him in a private jet. I want to bring him in like a military like cargo plane and have him parachute in.
No, he should ride in on a donkey, like Jesus, just to lay it on even more, even thicker, you know, just lay on the symbolism.
And when he walks into town, make sure he's carrying a cross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, I see him as a gifted kid, and you know, I don't know if you'd be able to relate to this personally, Gavin, but you know, as someone who was very smart in school, now as someone who just happened to be able to read a little bit better than your average 8-year-old, like I was kind of on that gifted path. I haven't gotten diagnosed yet, but I probably had ADHD. So like
perhaps
being good at math and reading, and having ADHD that like isn't being accounted for is like a really bad combination. And like, it's pretty well documented. Like people talk about it a lot, like the gifted kid burnout, you know, where you're like treated a certain way and then you kind of internalize it and it messes you up mentally. Like I kind of see a lot of that in Kanye West. Where he's been propped up so much, and now it's like he has this weird complex. Here's the thing:
regardless of how this really ends up for Kanye, he's gonna live the rest of his life comfortable.
Oh
like,
yeah, for sure.
No doubt about that. So, like, I don't think it will really matter.
Yeah, he lost a deal with I think Adidas, so he's like no longer a billionaire. I hear,
which is good, but also like Adidas, you could have done that sooner. It took a lot of people being like, "Hey, Adidas, how about you not?" And they're like, just ignore them.
Yeah, it took not only Kanye basically quoting Hitler, but also the public backlash for them to be like, "Okay, we're gonna."
Well, did you hear what he said on like a Taken Down podcast?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, he's like, I can say anti-Semitic shit, and Adidas can't deplatform me. Or like, and Adidas can't break their deal with, and then it is like, yeah, no, we're gonna break this deal with you. Yeah. Shout out to the dude who who captured that bit and then saved it. I want to say good job for you, buddy.
Yeah,
good job. But I don't know. I see this whole situation and I see a guy who is just unhinged and not in a good mental space. And
yeah, he's like not taking his meds.
Yeah, I just see a guy who's just kind of, for lack of better terms, panicking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate like how public his breakdown is.
Yeah,
and I feel like he's been publicly breaking down for forever. But it seems like it's been going on like really hard for the past like year or so.
I would say since his divorce.
Yeah, that was sometime in the last couple of years, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, like it's unfortunate, you know, how like public his mental breakdown has been.
Yeah.
And, you know, you kind of got to blame it on the people around him for, you know, exploiting him for clout.
Yeah. There has to be someone like, hey, Kanye, come on.
Yeah. But I also don't want to, like, infantilize Kanye. You know what I mean? Because, like, he is the one saying shit about the Jews.
You don't get, like, a pass for what you say.
Yeah.
Or what you do. Especially when you have, like, a lot of money and thus power. So whatever consequence comes of this will be earned.
Right.
But it's just sad to see a man in this state.
Yeah. Like I feel bad for him, even though it is kind of his fault that he is saying unhinged things.
Yeah.
I do feel like he's being taken advantage of, and like I don't want to say groomed, but maybe like influenced is maybe a better word. He's being influenced pretty heavily by like the Daily Wire.
Yeah, I would say goated. He's being kind of goated a little bit. He's being goated on by like different organizations who want to say that but can't.
Yeah. Well, like he's been hanging out with Candace Owens a lot, and she's been like filling his head with
no. So funny thing. So Candace Owens' husband owns Parler. They just sold Parler to Kanye West.
I knew he was buying it. I didn't realize it was Candace Owens' husband that owned it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yikes. Nothing good can come of anything involving Parler.
What?
Yeah.
Are you saying a place where nothing is monitored and you can say anything you want anytime, whatever it is, no matter how awful it is, you can just say it? You're saying that can become toxic?
Well, not only toxic, but also from what I've heard, people were like posting like illegal stuff, like certain child pornography. I was gonna say something to kind of beat around the bush, but yeah, child pornography.
No, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. But
yeah,
I feel like
a wretched cesspool of scum and villainy.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Kanye is really being like taken advantage of. He's being used as a pawn by the Daily Wire. Because, like, you know, Candace Owens has been hanging around with him a lot, and she made a documentary about George Floyd, basically just lying about him, basically, like, saying that he deserved to die without well, I mean, it is pretty explicit, but, you know, she doesn't come out and say the exact words George Floyd deserved to die, so she kind of gets away with being like, hey, I'm just stating facts. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm impartial. Mm-hmm. But she like lied and said that he was on like fentanyl, I think, and Kanye was out repeating it. It's not relevant to the case at all.
Saying like he was on meds or he was on some drugs or whatever, it's irrelevant because the cop had his knee on his back of the fucking head.
Yeah, right? And yeah, for some reason, even though that case is the most cut and dry case of police brutality, like the right somehow chose to die on that hill. And you had like Steven Crowder like making a video like recreating the you know, the knee on the neck without actually recreating it because, you know, he would die.
Who would die? Yeah.
But yeah, it's Candace Owens made like
guys, it's like me saying, guys, the gas chambers in Germany weren't that bad. Look I have this smoke machine in my room and I'm fine.
Yeah, but don't turn on a smoke machine in your room because
don't actually do that. I'm saying hyperbole. Don't do that.
Yeah, you have to. That's to be in a very well ventilated space. To be clear.
Yeah. Don't do that.
No, it's like that Steven Crowder video, like to make it about gas chambers. It's like if you were standing in the gas chamber with the door open and the gas not on, and you're like, I don't see what the big deal is. Mm-hmm. But
like, okay. Can I say something else too? Like I took a criminal justice course when I was in community college. The teacher happened to be the chief of police of the town I was in. I don't really want to like call him out like that, so I'm just gonna say keep it vague. But the chief of police was even like the cop who killed George Floyd was a thug.
Yeah.
Like he was a thug.
Everyone was on the same page with that case.
Right. And he's like, they have general rules for all cops that just apply everywhere. And one of them is how you handle those situations.
Yeah.
Not to mention
he somehow found a way to break what little rules the police have.
Right. And if you go into the cop's like history, the cop who killed George Floyd, whose name escapes me at the moment.
I want to say David something. I don't know. We don't need to immortalize him.
Yeah. He had a history of like brutal treatment of people who were in his control.
Yeah.
Or people who he detained. He even like beat up like a 14-year-old.
Yeah. And if you wanted to make a documentary going into either person's past, you'd think that you would go into the murderer's past and, you know, look at their track record instead of being like, well, this guy counterfeited a 20 once, or he spent a counterfeit 20 once. Or like he smoked weed once. So that's why he deserves to die painfully.
Guys, he jaywalked once.
Yeah. But it's just weird. Like, you know, taking all like, you know, political ideologies out of it. It's just, you know, if you're just looking at it as a case of one person killing another person and it being a massive trial, it's weird that you would go into the victim's history.
Yeah.
You always go into the bad guy's history.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like no one, like all these documents, like the Ted Bundy movie, they like didn't go into the victim's past because it's just like a fucking normal person. And that's all that you're going to find, unless you lie like Candace Owens and you're like, he was on fentanyl and he also he did all this other bad stuff. You know, it's just whatever. You go into the bad guy's history. One, it's more interesting, and two, like you're going to find more stuff there to explain what happened.
Yeah. All in all, it's just sad. It's always sad to watch another person brutalize another person.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I leave it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but anyway, back to the Kanye thing. The point that I wanted to make is he's being manipulated. Kanye is being manipulated by, you know, the people at the Daily Wire. Candace Owens,
I would say goaded. He's being goaded on by people who want to say what he's saying.
Yeah.
But have too much writing on their career.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like how Dave Rubin is allowed to be homophobic because he's gay. He's allowed to say like the homophobic stuff that other, you know, Daily Wire people want to say because it happens to be a gay man. And Candace Owens is a very similar figure because she is like a white supremacist mouthpiece, but she happens to be a black woman, so like it's okay for her to like basically say that black people are violent thugs because
and it's funny
the
when
white
she's
people
like,
at the Daily Wire can't get away with it as much.
Well, it's weird because she's like always an advocate for not playing the race card until it's convenient for her.
Her whole career is playing the race card.
Right. But like whenever you're like, I think she was at a congressional meeting because they were trying to do, I forget what the whole thing was, but a senator or congressman brought up video of her like just contradicting herself.
Yeah.
Right. And he's just like, listen, I don't need to make a case against her because she's already done it. And he played the video, and then she played the race card saying that like black people won't. He thinks that black people won't look into it or something, like look into the video.
Yeah. No, well, I noticed this with the right broadly. They hate identity politics until it serves them.
Right.
They hate identity politics until they can like have a gay person on their team to say homophobic stuff.
Exactly.
They hate it until it's useful for them. And yeah, they're kind of leading Kanye to be like the next Candace Owens. They're leading him to that position to be basically their mouthpiece to like, you know, go after, you know, racial and ethnic minorities.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, one point that I wanted to make is, you know, it starts with, you know, going after like black people and gay people, you know, like it goes after that kind of stuff. And like,
And now again, for the fourth, I mean, there's been so many times in history where people of the Jewish faith have been persecuted, but now again, Jews.
Yeah. It seems like every time there's like a new far right movement, like QAnon, you know, like it always starts and ends the same way. It starts with like going after like some vague group of bad guys that like control everything and also, you know, being racist and sexist and homophobic.
Right.
But it always ends with the Jews, and they never change up the formula. And, you know, Ben Shapiro starting the Daily Wire.
They should be more creative with their hatred, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, throw in some variety.
They should go to like a hatred workshop.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, can you start workshopping your bigotry? But, you know, it's ironic that Ben Shapiro would be the person to start this new right-wing movement with the Daily Wire, because they always end up going after the Jews. If you let hatred fester long enough, you know, if you start with like, did you know that black people do this made up statistic? You know, and you do like, you know, gay people, I think gay marriage should be left up to the states. And, you know, you start going after like, yeah, you know, trans people, they're gross or whatever. It always ends with going after the Jews. And we are at that stage now. You know, they're like grooming Kanye West to be this, you know, this far right figure. And of course, he starts going after the Jews because that's how it goes. And it like one thing that I've noticed with this is that people are kind of ignoring that.
Well, I think I think there's a certain threshold of critical thinking that needs to be passed before someone actually takes offense. And I think what dictates that is if you're listening to a news, like an official news channel that is saying something like this, you're already beyond that threshold of like taking in that information and critically thinking about it. And when you hear like the Daily Wire say something about the Jews, it's like, whoa, hold on a second. That's kind of fucked up. But when you hear someone like the likes of Kanye West talking about it, well, it's just Kanye West.
Yeah.
Right? And it's easy to write off if it's not a view that a person that you've already started like taking seriously.
Yeah. And, it would be one thing if it was just Kanye West saying it, but he is also like gaining a lot of support because of what he's saying about the Jews. Like people are like, going out with signs that are like, Kanye is right about the Jews. And it's people aren't taking it seriously, or at least not nearly as seriously as they should. Like people are kind of like justifying it. Like, well, it's not like he's literally doing the Holocaust. I think
that's a very low bar.
Yeah. Well, like I think Ben Shapiro said something along the lines of, and don't quote me on this, like I didn't really pay much attention to his response. I know Ethan Klein said something along the lines of like Ben Shapiro was starting a new Holocaust, and he said, the really insensitive thing that he said, he was like, I hope that they go after him first. Which he apologized for. But Ben Shapiro, I know he responded to that, but he also responded to the Kanye thing. And from what I remember, the gist of it was like, yeah, I disavow it, but it's not like it's that serious. People just generally aren't taking it seriously because he's not literally throwing people in gas chambers. Like the rhetoric just means nothing, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. And like people are powerful, but an individual isn't. And I don't mean to say that in terms of Kanye West won't make a difference in this. What I'm trying to say is, like, I know, like, it's obvious, like, I can't fix this, right, personally. But I think it's important that we try to deal on an individual level more graceful with one another. Just try to be nice to one another. Don't be a dick.
Wow, that's bold of you to say.
Right? I mean, I just go to like kindergarten again.
Yeah.
For a second. And
sharing is caring. That sounds communist.
Sharing is caring, guys.
But yeah, people aren't taking it seriously, like, because it's like, well, they say it's just Kanye West saying it, but it's not just him. He's like amassing a following because of what he's saying about the Jews, like beyond like his already like, the fame that he already has. He's like gaining support for what he's saying. And like you see this happen a lot where like something, bad, like some bad social movement is happening and people kind of ignore it. Like, oh, he's just talking about the Jews. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of ignored until it gets to the stage where people start doing physical violence. Then it's like, well, who could have seen this coming?
Well, that's like with January 6th.
Yeah.
Right? Like Trump didn't tell them to raid the Capitol.
Yeah, people get really like pedantic and literal in situations like that.
Well, it's like, I mean, he called them to the Capitol for a rally that turned into a riot.
And even
that turned into an insurrection.
Yeah, I remember the weeks
escalated.
Yeah, I remember the weeks before that happened. He was saying, "Yeah, if I lose the election, it's going to be because of voter fraud," and he was saying out loud, "No, I won't accept the results of the election."
Yeah,
and then everyone acted so surprised when they actually acted on it. And that's what's going to happen here. There's going to be some kind of violent movement with these far-right weirdos. They're going to start...
I just really hope that America doesn't have its night of broken glass.
We are going to have that. I see it coming. And Tucker Carlson is going to be another person that like legitimizes that, because he's been going on about white replacement theory. And like, I don't know if he's already pivoted to talking about the Jews, but I know he's at least like sympathetic to Kanye. So, you know, Kanye West is like, you know, the radical guy out there talking about the Jews or whatever. You know, he's getting people riled up. He's getting like the far right MAGA people riled up. Tucker Carlson is the legitimate face for like the center right people and like, you know, grandpas, you know, and like your standard Republicans that listen to Fox News. Like, he legitimizes the movement. So when they do go out and go after the Jews, people are like, well, you know, they have a point, you know? And people won't take it seriously until it's too late.
I wish I had like a rationale.
Yeah.
I'm lost for words. It's just sad. It's just because like when I think of America, like I like to think of the place that's like a melting pot where we work with each other's differences and we get to know each other beyond our differences and we grow an identity on top of that togetherness. And I see stuff like this happen, and not only do I see something that's objectively bad happening, but I see people in positions where they should know better actively goading it on.
Yeah.
And it's just really sad to see.
Yeah. I mean, you can take some solace knowing the fact that, like, you know, right-wing movements like this, like fascism, let's just call it what it is. Yeah. Fascism has a tendency to implode, to eat itself.
Yeah.
Because when you take these ideas to their logical conclusion, it ends up with that group, you know, killing each other. You know, when you have a movement based on the idea of
it becomes
purity,
a race to the bottom.
It becomes a race to the bottom. Yeah, if you have a movement centered around the idea of purity, which is what whiteness is. It's, you know, whiteness is like the lack of race or whatever. It's based on the idea of purity. Like, oh, I'm not, you know, like these other, you know, these swarthy people. Well, what's white? Are Italians white? They weren't for a while.
Well, it's
Are Irish people white?
It's interesting that you bring that up because during the Second World War in Germany, I forget exactly like where it was, but like a bunch of the German high command got together and their whole mission for like a whole month was just figuring out a definition for what Jewish means.
Yeah, there's no hard and fast definition.
Yeah, I mean, you do have people who have genetic factors that are inherently like Jewish.
Yeah,
right. I'm not saying that to be derogatory. That's
like Jewish, like that's an ethnic group.
1% Ashkenazi Jew, right? Like I've done a genetic test, right? And their whole thing was trying to figure out if being Jewish is a faith, if being Jewish was a genetic or physiological trait, or if being Jewish was a way of life.
Yeah.
Right?
It's kind of all of those, but you can't really put a hard and fast definition on it.
Right. And that's what really caused them to eat themselves alive.
Yeah. Well, within the faith, like I worked with someone that was Jewish, and he explained this to me. If your mother is Jewish, like you're considered Jewish, but if your father was Jewish and your mother wasn't, then you're considered like half Jewish, but they don't consider you like part of, you know, the in group. Okay. So, you know, do you do it based on that? Well, what if someone's father is Jewish? Like you're, you know, in like a...
What if you convert?
Yeah, what if you convert? Well, like from a strictly like a genetic perspective, someone whose mother is Jewish and someone whose father is Jewish, like they're both like half Jewish, if you will. But one of them will be considered Jewish by like the people in the faith. One of them won't. But if you ask a Nazi, they're probably going to consider them both just Jewish.
Or just default to just racial stereotypes.
Yeah. Yeah, like, oh, your nose isn't grotesquely big enough.
Let me see your teeth. If you have a golden tooth, it means something.
Yeah.
Like...
yeah, they start to like get really... They start to split hairs on it. And they get really pedantic about the definition because you have to. If you're doing a genocide, it can't just be random. Of course, you gotta figure out who is and isn't going to the camps.
Well, here's a pitiable fact. It's a fact that if we all just worked together, we could solve a lot of problems.
Gavin, you sound like a communist right now.
Hate to be spitting facts here, but if we all just set aside our hate, which is ultimately fruitless, and we just decided to work together to solve issues, we could fix it. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Even if that is commie socialist propaganda. But yeah, it's a horrible situation. It's really bad stuff, but you can take, I guess, some comfort with the knowledge that eventually ideologies like this will eat themselves alive.
Yeah.
It's
hopefully.
It's kind of, cold comfort. I don't know if that's the expression, but it's
like, the thing is, I just hate having a polarized political system, especially the one that we have now in the United States, where one side can't win if the other side loses. If the other side doesn't lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
One side can't get a leg up if the other side also is getting a leg up.
Yeah.
I believe the term is a zero-sum game. I hate having to play that because there are things that as people, we all value the same. And, there's a lot of things that we would be willing to do that are inherently hateful, but we do them to protect what we love. And I hate to see people having to resort to that. We're not even deciding to resort to that. It's just really unfortunate to see.
Yeah, you can also view it as a function of people in power wanting to keep their power. But, they kind of, there's people, people all over have like legitimate grievances, like inflation, like gas prices, that kind of stuff. Like people just can't afford to live, anymore. And some people that want to like harness that will, play to those frustrations. But obviously, since they've made their fortune on the same system that keeps people from being able to survive, like they kind of have to, run on something that isn't, hey, here's how I'm going to fix these problems. They have to run on stuff that isn't like, hey, let's raise the minimum wage. Let's, let's stop, corporations from ripping us off, basically. They can't run on that. So they have to resort to stuff like, oh, the Jews, they're what's keeping you down. So it's a weaponization of class frustrations.
Reminds me of this one quip I heard, or something along the lines of, it's called the American Dream because you have to be asleep to see it.
Yeah.
Because it's not, in many senses of the word, it's not real.
It's not, because we've let corporations take over, and too many people like are unwilling or unable to look into it. A lot of people just don't have the time because as a result of that very situation, they're just working all of the time, and when they're not working, they're like worried about how they're going to put food on the table, so they don't have a lot of time to really dig into the minutia of capitalism.
Well, right, but also a lot of people are stuck in a worldview that is backed by a lot of anger and vitriol and hate.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like their legitimate frustrations are being warped. Right.
But when the issue is the issue is when you try to encounter those worldviews with facts and with like real hard information that's meant to just be like here to help you.
Yeah.
Instead of being accepting, they tend to either deny it or push against it.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, something that's inherently human to do. But also, if what we're looking for is a solution to diffuse this constant anger, vitriol, and hate, we have to do it with some sense of compassion.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't really combat like hateful ideologies with just...
I'm not saying be complicit. I'm not saying be a pushover. I'm saying we need to say, yeah, that really sucks, and I'm sorry that you have to go through that.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to relate to their problems. You can't fight hateful ideologies with facts and logic. You can't respond to an emotional argument with a statistic. And that's not to belittle, their problems or whatever by calling it an emotional argument. That's just what it is. It's an emotional, it's how they feel. It's not a conclusion that they came to based on any evidence or anything.
Well, actually, I learned this in a political science class. There are positive and normative political views. So positive political views are things ought to be like this, and normative political views are things are currently like this. Anyway, I just remembered that.
That's a very fun fact.
Anyway,
but my point is if someone's emotions, again, not to belittle their perspective, but if someone's emotions lead them to I'm frustrated and it's because of the Jews, for example, you can't really combat that with a statistic oh, well, did you actually know that most bankers are, let's say, Protestant? That's not really convincing to them, because they didn't come to that conclusion based on data. So you got to meet them on their level. You got to, meet them with oh yeah, that sucks, but actually the people you should be mad at is, that's kind of a vague example, but you get what I'm saying.
From what I've been seeing isn't necessarily that, but what I've been seeing is, and I think this is more of an issue with how the left is trying to handle this, which is by shaming.
Yeah.
And saying you can't say that, right? Because objectively they can. Anyone can say anti-Semitic stuff.
Yeah, they really mean you really fucking shouldn't.
You really shouldn't. I would very much disagree with that, but shame doesn't fix the problem, though.
Yeah, it may
It may make you look good on Twitter.
Yeah, it may, it's... People talk about this with online debates.
Right.
To tie it to a broader issue. The issue with online debates, or debates in general, is it's not about the issues really. It's about looking good. It's basically pro wrestling.
It's posturing.
It's posturing, exactly.
Right. And
so if you shame the person that you're talking to, it's not going to convince them, but it's, it'll make the audience feel entertained, and it may convince some people. It may convince some people that are watching.
Yeah.
But if you're doing a one-on-one conversation with someone, without an audience, or if you're just trying to convince that person, shaming them won't convince them.
Yeah. I guess moral of the story for me, I just don't think that combating hatred and vitriol with shame and facts is an effective strategy at making sure that we all can come together and try to agree on something.
Yeah. That shouldn't be bold of us to say.
Really that shouldn't be bold to say, but I feel like it kind of is.
Yeah, overall, if you want to get something done, if you hold near and dear to you,
Anyway.
But yeah, I'll close it with this. This is sort of an open letter to Ben Shapiro, but really anyone that's in a similar situation. If you're trying to chase clout, which, let's be honest, most of the Daily Wire people are, they are failed Hollywood people that went into right-wing grifting. If you're, a failed Hollywood, screenwriter or actor, whatever, what have you, and you're like, well, the Koch brothers are really paying a lot of money for people to say that billionaires shouldn't be taxed. Maybe think twice before, joining that movement, especially if you are like Ben Shapiro and you are Jewish, or, any minority group that would be targeted. Just know they won't stop at one group. If you start your grift with oh, well, I'm just going to go after gay people, they're gonna pivot to you. You are next.
If I had a message for anyone listening to this, and a serious actual message from from Gavin himself that an employer can look at and say, what is this about? You know, anger and hatred is fruitless. So, you know, if you hear a message that's anchored on anger and hatred, please think critically, think compassionately.
Yeah.
And most importantly, for the people around you, treat them with dignity, respect, and love.
Look, at first it may sound like they're saying this.
I'm gonna come.
But it's not very, it won't take very long for them to start saying this.
I'm gonna blow up the city.
So what I have to say is this.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
How'd you like that? Triple combo.
That, you know, wow, that takes some talent, Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not everyone could do that.
Yeah. Anyway, we watched a movie this week.
Yes.
One of us watched 2 movies because one of us, not going to name names, didn't watch it last week. Not going to name names. Might not even be one of us.
The same one movie twice, and I actually watched both of them, yes.
It's good.
So where do you want to start, Alex?
Well, you know, I'm not going to accuse you of anything. I'm not going to say you didn't watch the movie last week.
Alex, you're accusing me of something.
Okay? I cannot. I would never accuse you of anything.
No, if you weren't trying to accuse me, you wouldn't say that. You would say, I cannot confirm or deny.
I cannot confirm nor deny anything. But I will, you know, start off by asking just as a general, conversation starter. What did you think of last week's movie, Gavin? What do you think about the movie specifically? Now that you have watched it.
What a 1970...
Not to say that you didn't watch it last week.
Damn, that shit was horny.
Yeah. Dude,
Damn, that shit was horny as fuck.
Yeah, like I thought the first one was horny, especially during the part where they all went to Pound Town.
Dude, they went to Pound Town on like 3 separate occasions.
Oh yeah, dude, like that.
It was nuts.
It really is the Shrek 2 of horniness in this franchise.
Yeah, for sure.
Look, just in terms of horniness, Fear Street 1978 is the Empire Strikes Back of Fear Street movies.
Yeah.
When it comes to horniness, at least.
Yeah. So, I mean, summer camp, that was pretty cool. I have to think through it now. Summer camp, the sisters in the porta potty.
Well, one point that I wanted to make last week that, I ended up speaking to a brick wall, was that camp was aggressive as hell. Like,
I mean, yeah, but I think that's how they, I think
the color
nowadays,
war? Like,
I think in modern time we're less like aggressive because aggression and competitiveness are there's a very thin line between the two.
Yeah.
And I think back then, especially in the 70s, that line was very blurry.
Right. Well, I think given that these two towns are already at each other's throat, maybe it's not the best idea to be like, oh yeah, also here's another reason to fight, doing the color war.
Mm-hmm. So I actually learned this morning. So funny enough, the time that this movie takes place in was only 6 years after interracial marriage was federally legalized.
Yeah, that's wild, isn't it?
Kind of weird to think about that, huh?
Yep.
Shit.
Yeah.
Which I was expecting a little bit to hear like racial shit.
Yeah. I'm
a little like
kind of glad that they didn't go for full accuracy. Feel like that might bring down the mood.
I'm relieved, frankly. But yeah, it was I think very campy, obviously, because it was from 1973,
and it's at a camp.
It's at a camp. I liked the widespread use of weed. That was kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
And now those people voted for Trump.
Yeah.
And are against federal legalization for weed.
Yeah.
Because they've already had their fun.
Yeah.
Because they have COPD and are getting high in their opiates.
Yeah.
but God, what were good parts? That movie was kind of boring for me.
Yeah. Well, what did you think of like the lore developing? The second one is when we see like the tunnels underground, and we see like the room where they do the ritual.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought that was neat. I was like, oh, they're gonna find like a cave or something, and it's gonna have shit in it, and they found that, and then, I was kind of expecting, like the murdery parts, or at least the onset of that like murdery state on what was his name, Tommy.
Yeah.
I was expecting that to be more instantaneous, and I like how the movie made it so it was like
kind of
slowly
festers,
fading out, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was neat. I don't understand how someone can survive unaided, like 8 stab wounds to the chest.
Yeah, I was watching the third one last night with Haley and our roommate, and like especially towards the end, you kind of realize this must take place in a universe where stab wounds don't really do anything.
Yeah. Because the human body's fucking, we're jelly covered in fucking skin.
Yeah.
You kidding me? My head's about as strong as a watermelon.
Yeah. Well, like,
that's not just me. That's science talking.
Yeah. Well, like the end of the second movie, Ziggy and Cindy are like getting their Ziggy is like getting stabbed in the abdomen repeatedly.
Yeah.
And Cindy is like getting her chest caved in with an axe.
Yeah. And they're like looking at each other and they're like speaking and they're like, I love you. And it's like, no, you have 2 collapsed lungs.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if they weren't collapsed, they would be engorged with blood.
Right. Yeah. Well, like they both looked equally about to die, but then like the ambulance rolls up and it's like, okay, it's fine, guys. We got an EpiPen. EpiPens cure death in this universe.
It's all good. I got 2 Band-Aids. It's fine.
That's apparently all you need to survive multiple stab wounds.
Exactly. Yeah.
But anyway, so Fear Street Part 2, best movie ever?
I'd say it was good. I do want to talk about the last movie.
Yeah. I wanted to get to the second one, then the third one.
Well, fuck you then.
So to close out the second one, best movie ever?
It was all right. It kind of was a little boring to me, frankly.
That's fair. How would you say it compares to Twilight?
Oh, much better.
Yeah. How about The Godfather? Better.
I have not watched The Godfather, so I cannot say.
Yeah, I would say it's better than The Godfather.
Okay.
I haven't seen The Godfather either.
I think the reason it was kind of a little boring to me was because it wasn't really catching to a chase. It was just like a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, yeah, Catch of the Chase was like, oh, what's going to happen? But like, we all know what's going to happen.
Right. Well, they kind of do that fake out where you think the older sister survives, like C. Berman, but it ends up being the younger sister that survives. That's
I figured that one out a long time ago. Well, because I took the movie at like face value. So like when they were in the caves with, who was that one girl? Who was the first girl to go to Pound Town?
I don't remember her name.
Short hair, doing drugs.
I know who you're talking about. I don't remember what her name was.
Well, they're in the cave, and she touches the little heart demon thing.
Yeah, the little goo pile.
I don't know. Yeah. She touches that thing of KFC.
This is what a fetus looks like at 6 weeks. Still don't think abortion is murder?
Right. Yeah, guys, come on. Demon lives matter.
Yeah.
But she touches it and she's like, no, you're gonna die. And so when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, so if this girl's dead, then the girl who's telling the story must be Ziggy.
Yeah. Well, you're no fun.
Well, I was just deducing.
Yeah. So you'd say worst movie ever then?
I mean, I did like the cinematography. I thought the visuals were really good. I think it definitely really created and built upon its own style, and I like that. The people who put the scene together, or put these scenes together, really knew how they wanted to mesh the like old 70s retro look with modern horror.
Yeah.
Right? And I respect it. It was really good. The thing that just bored me was that it was just a piece of the puzzle when I really wanted to catch the chase.
That is, that's fair. The first one, it really stands on its own as like just a, its own story.
Kind of campy, yeah.
You can kind of watch up until like the last 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And like it kind of, it wraps itself up nicely, but it also leaves room to explore, what else is going on. Like if you watch up until the part where the girl Sam gets possessed, like it kind of wraps itself up nicely. So it's like satisfying to watch it. But then, the second one, it kind of feels like, you see more of the world and you see more of the lore develop, and that is fun to watch. But I can understand how it's kind of like, okay, let's get to what's really going on.
Yeah. I did like how it kind of implied more rules onto the whole demon possession stuff, because the first one was like, a lot of it was, and it contributed to the horror, which was like, what's going on? How do I fix this? How do we get to the bottom of this? And then the second one really kind of established what the rules are of the curse. And I just love like magic with technicalities.
Yeah.
Like how the curse knows the difference between being legally dead versus literally dead or brain dead, or how the curse, like, I just 2 times now it's shown the difference between being legally dead and actually dead.
Yeah.
So, if you want to figure out if someone's dead or alive, just curse them.
Yeah.
If no reincarnated corpses come and try to kill them, you know what's going on.
Yeah. So best movie ever then?
Is I.
Okay, well would you say, Gavin, that it's the best movie ever or the worst movie ever? You know how we do things here.
I would have to say that in the case of this movie, in many ways, it is perhaps yes.
I'd say better than 8-Bit Christmas.
I'd say sure.
Yeah. And look, does it take place in 1978? I think so.
Wait, was it 78?
I think so. I don't know.
I thought it was 73.
No, I think 7. It doesn't matter. Would I say it takes place in the 70s? For sure. Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
For those eagle-eyed lawyers among us, I'm aware that interracial marriage was federally legalized in 1967.
Okay, yeah.
Which even then seems a little late, seeing as 3 years later we were like, let's put a dude on the moon.
Well, like, when I was watching the Batman movie, from 1966, I was like, shit, this is 2 years post civil rights.
Yeah.
And you said interracial marriage was
67.
legalized 67?
Yeah, so let me put this in another perspective.
Adam West was Batman when interracial marriage wasn't a protected right.
Yeah, granted, at that point, it was, like, legalized in most states.
Yeah.
It's just, like, I don't feel like that's the benchmark that we should try to go for. Like, most places think that's all right.
Yeah.
Most places are like, we'll allow that.
Yeah. Shit's crazy. So, best movie ever then?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So, if you're listening and you haven't watched the Fear Street movies up to this point, watch them, because I don't know when we're going to start going into spoilers, but we are going to start. We're going to spoil the movie.
Like, it got me. It got me.
If you're curious at all, watch the movies. They are on Netflix. Watch them and then listen to this if you don't want it ruined. That being said,
I'd like to point out, for Fear Street 3, Electric Boogaloo.
Yes.
Oh, dude, Fear Street 3, Electric Jubilee.
Oh, That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Anyway, you were saying?
I did it. I really liked the like retrospective mysteries that kind of like popped up. That like we were always kind of wondering, but never critically examined.
What do you mean?
You know, so like for instance, the second movie showed that the sheriff knows what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Like, he understands what the fuck's going on. He knows it's a curse. Why isn't he, now that he's in a position where people won't question his authority?
Yeah.
Why isn't he doing more to stop this?
Yeah.
Why isn't he actively, like, I don't know, escorting them from place to place to make sure that they get the information they need to get?
Exactly. I do like how it develops the mystery. Right.
Why isn't he bringing a bunch of cops with him when they're escorting them from place to place, so that if one of these zombie reincarnated whatevers try to attack them, they can handle the problem and give them the time that they need to get information?
Yeah.
Why isn't he playing more of an active role in this investigation of figuring out what's going on?
Exactly.
I get it if he wants to keep some professional, like, backup, because granted, it is dealing with a curse, so I get it if he wants to try to spare face.
Yeah.
And keep a certain professional
but
boundary.
It is a demonstrable curse. Like, you can like get it on camera, you can let more people know. It's not trying to like hide itself. But yeah, like the first movie, you start out with a number of questions. You're like, hey, why isn't the sheriff helping them? It seems like he knows more than he's letting on. And then like the second one, like you said, yeah, it answers questions, but in a way that brings up more questions. Like, okay, yeah, he does know what's going on. So, like, exactly like you said, why didn't he help them in the first one? Why didn't he believe
most
them?
of all, why isn't he doing more if he knows people are going to die?
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so that's the thing. Like, and that's where we stop, like, with the critical examination when, like, we're watching movies like this.
Yeah. Well, you can kind of chalk it up to him just like you said, wanting to save face. Like, at the end of the second movie, when he's like, oh yeah, Tommy just went crazy. Like, I won't spoil the ending of the third one yet, but like, you kind of get the sense. Kid. You kind of get the sense that he's doing it just to be like, just to save his own reputation, and just because, like, yeah, no one's gonna believe him, and he just wants to maintain power.
Well, not only that, but like he mentioned in the movie too, when we still think he's awesome and whatnot. Like, he wants to be chief of police. That's his like destiny, right?
Well,
to be chief of police, or sheriff. My bad. Which is an elected position, which shouldn't be in anything. Anyway, just want to mention that.
Yeah, watch some more news video about sheriffs. Shit's wild.
Shit's wild. Actually, the chief of police who taught my criminal justice class, he goes, like, there comes a point with the sheriff where you're at an impasse and they just stab you in the back.
Yeah. Dude, sheriffs have a frightening amount of power just because of like how little people pay attention to them.
They can deputize anyone.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm in the process of actually writing a video essay about like the nature, about like the police and also superheroes, because they exist at kind of a weird intersection. Just a little self-promotion.
But going back to the movie, at least in the second one, like, it's almost like his destiny to be sheriff, right? And so I get it when they're like, what happened here? And he's just like, Tommy just went crazy, because they're not going
along with
trust
the narrative.
Someone who, as a kid, observed murders and said it was a curse.
Right.
So that's where I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. And if I were to watch because I'm not going to spoil it just yet, but like, if I were to watch the first movie again after watching the second one, I would be wondering, why isn't he doing more, right? But also, I would write that off as, oh, he's probably just like really busy, right? Like, he's the sheriff.
Yeah,
but also,
and these movies are like fun to rewatch because you notice a lot more details, because they were all made at the same time. So like the first one is made with the knowledge of what happens in the third one. And it's awesome. You'll love to see it. But
I mean, usually like we write it off and then we don't critically examine after, right? Like he's just busy. He's the chief of police,
right?
He has authority. But then if you think about it further, after watching the second movie, you're like, no, he knows what's at stake. If any of us knew that people were going to die if we didn't do something.
Yeah.
Then we would do something.
Exactly.
So and then beyond that, then what's the motive for not doing anything?
Yeah. Yeah, it brings up a lot more questions, even though you're finding out more information. So anyway, Fear Street Part 2, best movie ever. Awesome lore development.
I want to bring up one other thing about Fear Street.
Yeah.
I like, especially if you're comparing it to other horror movies, that really like to like dangle innocence over a fucking meat grinder and hold that suspense until they're like, oh, we're not gonna, don't worry.
Yeah.
It's fine. Right? Innocence is saved. I like how Fear Street just doesn't fucking care.
I think I made this point when we watched the first one, but yeah, they really hammer home no one is safe.
No one. Yeah, that one like kind of like chubby kid who
Josh,
like in the second in the second movie.
Oh,
little chubby kid with black glasses.
Yeah, I think he's like
the jailer.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I think he's named once.
Capture the flag.
Jeremy, I think.
Yeah, something like that. But like all the Sunnydale, Sunnyvale. They all get like out of jail, right? And then fucking Tommy comes up and he's like, "Oh, hey, Tommy." Like,
yeah, and you're like, no, he's not gonna. No way.
He can't.
No
They're
way.
Not gonna. I was like, come on, they're not gonna kill this kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they will.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they will.
Brutally.
Like not painfully. Like he chopped off his limbs first, and then killed him.
Yeah.
Like
just as brutal as all the other killings, but like
right.
Like you just feel bad for him because everyone has been so mean to him, and like Tommy, I think, was one of the few people earlier in the movie that was like nice to Jeremy.
Yeah.
And then he gets possessed by the devil and fucking kills him brutally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ugh. So anyway, we watched another movie this week. Fear Street Part 3, 1666.
Jubilee.
Well, we watched Fear Street 1666, which is also Fear Street 1994 Part 2. So what'd you think of the third one?
I thought it was the beginning kind of bored me, and I was like, it's 1666. I want to mention also, objectively, there's nothing ominous about the year 1666.
Yeah, it's just like, it's kind of cool.
It's a different number.
666.
Yeah, but it's 1,600. That's a different number.
Yeah, no, it should have been 666 AD.
Yeah, go back to the Roman times.
Yeah.
I want to see them in Europe. Actually, that's what I was wondering at the beginning of the movie. I was like, are they at a colony, or what's the deal?
Well, yeah, it would be a colony.
But I thought for a hot second they were like in Denmark or some shit. I don't know. Anyway, they're all speaking with Irish accents, which I guess is how everyone spoke back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although the American accent kind of popped through occasionally, I think.
Yeah, I mean, some of them were definitely better than others.
Mm-hmm. I think that having it, at least the story of like how it all started, be set in 1666.
Yeah.
Really gave the horror, given the context of the past two movies, some really good authenticity, and made it more of like what we would expect for like a witch ghost story.
Yeah.
But I liked the especially with the modern take on like homosexuality, and now I see a gay couple and I'm like, cool, neat.
Yeah.
Back then you were fucking hanged, dude.
Yeah.
So also, fuck anyone who wants to go back to that.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I wanted to make this point. Yeah, if you're like, I don't like gay people, they shouldn't be married. Like, that's what you look like. Just so you know. Like, if you watched that movie and you're like still homophobic, it's like,
I mean,
just know that that's you.
I understand hating a group of people based on how that group of people hates. I have no idea how people can go about hating another group of people based on how they love.
Well, like, it's completely valid to hate Nazis. Some people equate hating Nazis with, like, hating, like, an ethnic minority.
Well, yeah, because I hate how the Nazis hate.
Yeah.
Right? I hate that. I hate that the Nazis hate.
Yeah. Completely different motivations.
Right. Anyway.
Anyway, I like the casting. I like that they used recast
all
everyone.
The original people. That was really good, and also really solidified the authenticity of it. That like it acted as like.
Well, it ties into the idea of like history repeating itself,
right? But also in terms of plot, because that's like another whole part of it. Like it really solidifies who represents what. And what's like what the undertone is and how to properly define that.
Yeah.
And I really liked how they did it. Especially because, and as we find out in the third movie, I'm just going to drop the spoiler.
Yeah. From now on, we are doing spoilers. So audience, if you have not watched any of these movies yet, or if you haven't watched the third one all the way to the end, watch it and then come back to this. Again, it's on Netflix. Watch it. It's a good series, and we are going to spoil the ending.
Okay, here it goes.
Huge twist.
Okay, 3, 2. You can pull back now. 1.
Turns out Dean is gay.
Yes. The sheriff is actually the witch in question. The warlock in question.
Yeah, he's like maintaining the curse.
Right. He's the linchpin in all this.
Yeah, it's his bloodline.
So, I liked how this third one starts off by really solidifying, like really laying on that he's just a good old nice dude who's just trying to do Solomon. He's just a guy who's farming and trying to make the best of a shitty situation, and he just wants everyone to be healthy and happy, which I mean objectively is what he wants ultimately.
Well, he wants himself to be successful. I don't think he really cares as much about other people, or else
again, I would say it's not really about what he wanted, it's how he went about getting it.
Yeah.
Right. And so I like how they really kind of like pasted on like, oh, he's a simple, God-fearing, nice guy. And to a point, even when like who's the main gal? The main
Sarah Fear.
Like, Sarah Fear. I like when she had her experience out in the forest with all the other kids, and she thinks that she brought the curse in because she was kissing another girl, right?
Yeah.
And, dude, I didn't know she knew how to do that. By the way, I didn't know she knew how to go down on someone. I thought that's something that they just didn't explore, especially because, like, back then your mouth isn't clean. They don't have toothbrushes.
Well, it's not just... I think the mouth not being clean is kind of the least of your worries if you're in that situation. Like, my question is more, when's the last time either of them bathed?
That's a fishy cooch.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, she talks to Solomon, and she's like, I fear that I brought this blah, 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 in. And through the view of him being like a simple, nice, wise guy, he says, like, you don't accidentally summon the devil. You have to invite him in.
And you think at first he's like trying to comfort her, but no, he's like speaking from experience.
Right. He's like, no, trust me.
No, he's really having a John Bolton moment as someone who's planned many a coup d'etat, as someone who's made many a deal with the devil. I know personally, you don't initiate a deal with the devil by chance.
Right.
You have to talk to a secretary, and you have to leave a voicemail. Then you have to call back because he says his people will reach out to your people. But then, it's just a way of ignoring you. So you really got to make your presence known. And it's just hard getting your foot in the door.
Public.
Yeah. And you really got to tighten up your elevator pitch.
You have to be a borderline stalker.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like when you first hear that, you're like, "Oh, that's kind of a nice saying, right?" Like,
yeah.
That's really comforting. And then shit kind of, I forget exactly. I watched this last night. Forget exactly how it's discovered that he's the guy.
Well, she had Sarah hides in his house, and she ends up going under the floorboards, and she finds the room where he does the ritual, and then he's like, "Okay, cards on the table. I'm the bad guy."
So
he's like, "Hey, remember the sheriff from the first movie? He's bad."
Yeah, he's like, "Don't judge me, okay?" That's what I imagine him. Okay. You found my secret satanic altar. Don't judge me, okay? I have a deeply held belief, that in killing you, my harvest will be great. So,
yeah. Like
listen.
on the one hand, I made a man become possessed by the devil and brutally murder all of our children. But on the other hand, my carrots are coming in great. Look at these fucking radishes.
Oh my god. Have you seen these carrots? Look at
how juicy these tomatoes are.
Holy shit, I feel like I'm in Italy.
Okay, sure. I have doomed an entire town to a history of misery. But look at these fucking squashes.
Dude. Can you imagine the pumpkin pie we're going to make with these?
Incredible. Now,
wow.
Half the town won't be around to see it or to experience it, but the ones that do end up surviving.
Sarah, listen, look at this. This tomato is almost as big as your ass, okay? Listen, if it takes chopping some people up, I'm going to do it. Anyway. I like it. Anyway. Yeah, I really liked that reveal, especially because it shows how confident he is in doing this.
Yeah.
That he thinks that like, hey, that unguarded fucking satanic altar I have under my house? There's no way, even though there's like no clear way of her like not discovering it, she's totally not gonna discover it.
Yeah, well, like, how often do people go under your floorboards?
Well, there was a fucking door. Like, what do you like?
Well, she had to she had to go under his house to reach it.
I mean, yeah, but wasn't there like a door and she was in a room, right? And then there was like a door, like a small door.
Oh yeah, there was like a small door that like led to the opening of the cave.
Yeah. So like, I don't beyond like, oh, there are clearly open windows here. Someone's gonna see me.
Right. Well, it's kind of like hiding in plain sight. Like, how many? Like, realistically, what are the odds of someone, going into your house and going through that door?
Right. Well, also, I mean, if you want to think of it in more of a seditious kind of way, I think he also knew that she was desperate and was in desperate need of some compassion on his part.
Yeah.
But he, instead of like selflessly giving compassion and saying, "Here, just hide, I'll protect you," he may have even set up a situation in which she would find the satanic altar.
Yeah.
And then either have the choice of helping him or die.
Yeah.
Right? Which is even worse. Like, that's like,
well,
yeah. Fuck,
well, like, yeah,
man.
You're right. Yeah. The level of confidence that this guy has, where like he knows he's gonna succeed. Like, he's made a deal with the devil. Like, his family's bloodline, like his fate is sealed. Like, yeah, they're gonna be prosperous. And he's like, okay, who are they gonna believe, me or you?
Well, right.
And he ends up dragging her out. Like, hey, look, I found the fucking witch.
Was Solomon the first one to do that?
Yeah,
though?
he made the deal because he left the town to like venture out further into the woods, and he was going to set up his own little farm. But he wasn't having any luck.
His wife and child died.
Yeah, it wasn't working out. Yeah. So he made a deal with the devil to like
Mhm.
have his shit work out.
Yeah. Just like in Star Trek.
It's just like Star Trek. But no,
yeah,
like I said before with you rewatch the trilogy and you start to notice more things. Rewatching the third one specifically, like knowing where it goes, knowing how it ends, it recontextualizes a lot of the scenes with Solomon, because he's like, there are parts where like I think once they start accusing Sarah of like being the witch, he's like, he's looking like, in a concerned manner or whatever. You think he's just concerned for his friend, but then it basically like recontextualizes like
or
those
you
moments.
You think he's almost like concerned for common sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like he just wants people to get their wits about them and realize that
yeah, well, at first you think he's like trying to protect Sarah and he's like concerned for her, but really it's more something along the lines of like, hey, let's get everyone off this witch talk, okay? We don't want to start talking
like
about
really
deals
to
with the
protect
devil.
him for sure.
Yeah.
One thing I found interesting though was when
also like it kind of you just get a sense that he feels some level of guilt. He has those like sad looks on his face, and you think it's just concern for his friend, but it's also like you can tell he's looking at himself like, I kind of caused this.
Yeah, I mean he knows. He knows it's him, right?
Yeah, of course.
And well, one thing I found interesting, which is why I kind of believe in this like seditious, like he planned out this a little bit. Like once he realized the opportunity that he had to try to get what was it? Sarah? Was her name Sarah Fear on his side, right? He instead of trying to protect her, he took on that appearance before kind of leading her down like, here's what I'm doing, right? Because and like when they're that chase scene in the cave, right?
Right.
He's like actively like, Sarah, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you. Right? I just want to explain. Let me explain this. Right? And
like he doesn't want to hurt her, but he will if he has to.
Well, that's the thing. It's not that he doesn't want to hurt her, because he will.
Oh,
right?
yeah. It's more that he like wants her around as like something for him to have.
Somewhat. He wants her to be complicit in his plan. And it might be on a human level. Like he might feel bad, right, about like summoning the devil and making his crops better, because look at those carrots.
Oh yeah.
Right. But it could be too that he wants to try to mitigate his guilt by getting someone in on it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like just multi-level, and I liked how that was, right? But of course we know that Sarah was like, no, I'm not going to help you murder people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, and also at that point, she was pretty much screwed. Like there's no way that you can come back from that. Like they were going to kill her.
Well, right. But also like his house was considered like, oh, he doesn't have the witch, right? Like his house doesn't have the witch, right? He could have just hid her in his house, objectively speaking, right?
Well, they end up searching him anyway.
Yeah, but like they're not gonna find the satanic fucking temple,
right?
Yeah. But like he could have. What I'm trying to say is he could have like kept her around as a tool, to get his objectives kind of done. Yeah. That's kind of it.
I think maybe you could look at it as he cares about her, but it's not
about caring. He wants to use her. That's
that's
the thing.
There's multiple ways of looking at it, because it is kind of open-ended, like the extent to which he cares about anyone really. But you could read it as like he is straight up evil and he doesn't care about her, or you could read it as like, yeah, sure, he cares about her on like a human level, and they're personally like friends, right? But it's not like he's gonna throw away his chance at having a prosperous life and a prosperous bloodline just for this girl. Like he cares about her. You could argue, but he cares more about his deal with the devil.
Yeah, for sure. So are we to presume then that because it's shown that his like wife and child died?
Yeah, it's so unclear whether the bloodline is like it's like his kids or his brother's kids. Because Solomon did have a brother like still at the town. I think he was like kind of like how Nick was the sheriff and his brother was the mayor. Similar situation. Okay. I think Solomon's brother was like some kind of leader in the town.
Okay.
So it might have been his kids.
I just really liked the layers of I guess humanity in it.
Yeah.
Right? Of both like human flaws and plot, and I just liked it. It was great. It was pretty cool. Especially like the twist that it's actually the sheriff.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like I'm a person who can smell out like horror movies pretty quick.
Yeah.
Didn't see that shit coming. You had me completely.
Yeah, it's a good twist.
Charged. It's a great twist.
And it like it's not like out of nowhere also. Like it's subversive, like you don't expect it, but once it does, like once you realize, like it still makes sense. Like the series, like the first time you watch it through, it's like, okay, there's a witch and she like cursed the town, and you know, you can follow it along, it makes sense, but you can still rewatch it with the knowledge of how it turns out. And it still is like a cohesive narrative. Like it still makes sense.
Yeah. What else? I was going to say something else about it. I was going to say something else. Oh yeah. I like also that, like, of course it's a curse with rules, right? Yeah. And a logic that makes some cohesive sense to it, right? Which is why I like the creativity of them getting some of the blood and putting it into a bucket with like some neon paint and water. Right.
Yeah, I wanted to get to the finale bit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, now that we've gotten through all the 1666 stuff, like the end, like when it's back to 1994 and they're like in the mall, that whole sequence is great. I love it.
It was really good. Especially that like
I like the callback to the guy that the brother like got out of jail. I liked bringing him back. You know, the janitor. The janitor from he was in the first movie.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, him. I like how like bringing he's a dude back. Who was like completely divorced from whatever was going on with this whole curse thing.
Completely
and so they had to have
removed.
like a sit down. Listen. So there's a curse.
Yeah.
Here's the proof. She is possessed. You can see that's not how a person that you can't humanly do what she's doing.
Yeah. What I like about it what I like about it is that, like, sure, yeah, he asks for details later on. He's like, yeah, I got to know what we're doing here. But like when they first bring him on, they're just like, hey, you want to kill Sheriff Good? He's like, yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Let's do it.
No, I like how he's like, wait, for real? And they're like, yeah. And instead of being like, well, hold on a second, he's like, let me get my coat.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
It was great. Hold on, let me get my coat. Better to have it than not need it than need it but not have it, you know, especially with the whole,
especially with this fall weather.
You know, it makes me a little chilly. So
yeah, I don't want to get a cold.
Can we get some chai lattes while we're at it? While we're on our way over. I could really use a good chai.
Yeah,
you know, maybe with some pumpkin spice in it. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But one thing that kind of like got me is that like in the first movie they could have just locked the demons up.
Yeah, well, it's kind of there's no really like permanent way to get rid of them without ending the curse like they did at the end of the third one.
I mean, they could have just locked them up and like just watched them, right? And then like waited for adults or someone,
right?
Or anyone.
Well, they could just like ooze away because they are just like ooze monsters.
Okay.
They even like remember the first one. They like locked them in the bathroom and then blew them up.
Yeah.
Then they just like reanimated because they're just devil goo.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but no, I did like you said earlier how they like blended like the blood with the neon paint.
Yeah, Like they put some common sense to this.
I like that they
see them.
They like graffitied the walls. They wrote like "Up yours, Sheriff Good" on the Sheriff Evil.
Oh yeah, like Sheriff Good is evil.
Yeah.
I also like how the rubber kind of hit the road when the cops like come in and they're like, freeze.
Yeah.
Now you can't just break in here and paint up the place and put down your weapons and blah 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 blah. And then they just like get slaughtered. And then there's that one cop who is like, it's like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Who just stabbed my other deputy, right?
Yeah.
And so he's like, put down the weapon. And of course the demon's just crawling toward him and he shoots the demon like a couple times in the head. And he's just like, what the fuck? What's going on?
You know what it reminds me of? Remember The Watch?
No.
The Ben Stiller movie, Vince Vaughn, Jonah Hill, they were in it.
Sure.
The aliens in the Costco.
Okay. Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah. It reminds me of the part where like the two cops show up and then they like both get stabbed. One of them dies. They're like, hey, what are you doing? You can't break into Costco. This shit's illegal. It's the same scene.
Yeah. But I really liked that adage of common sense to like, we're gonna use a rule of this curse to our advantage.
Yeah.
Right. As the army would say, improvise, adapt, overcome.
Yeah. I wanted to point out, I only just made this connection rewatching it last night. But it also explains why the monsters went after Sam in the first movie and why they're now going after Dina in this one. Because like the whole point
she got her blood on it.
She got her blood on Sarah's bones, and that like gave her visions of like, oh shit, Sarah Fear is innocent. So like the demons kind of go after whoever is like at risk of revealing the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in the second one, Ziggy like gets a little bit of blood on the bones, and like up until when Dina gets her blood on the bones, like no one really gets the full picture. They just like see like vague visions, but yeah, I did appreciate that detail where it's like, oh, there is a reason why they're going after the people that bleed on the bones.
There are rules to this.
It makes sense. And like that just goes to show like, you know, this series has a lot of layers and you appreciate it more with every rewatch.
Exactly. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. I really liked the closure that is given when it's like Ziggy versus the Sheriff Good.
Yeah, it's a good cathartic moment.
Like,
I loved it when she was like, we're going to carry him. Like that went hard. That went hard as fuck.
Yeah. Although I kind of wish they would like I don't understand why they wouldn't have just like headshotted him the second he walked in.
Because that wouldn't be satisfying.
Just hide in a corner.
No, like, he needs to know he's defeated. It wouldn't be as satisfying if they just killed him right away.
Listen, there are two cops that have just been slaughtered.
Listen, it's so cathartic when they carry him.
That are mostly loaded, that you're going to use against the things that can take bullets.
Okay, fair enough. You know what one of my favorite parts of that sequence was?
What?
When they I think Ziggy does it, but when they like spray the blood on all of the reanimated
that
guys,
was a really great idea. I
get them
think.
to go after each other. I loved that.
But it also shows that they're like blind, really.
They're just
chasing
going off
like a
of, like, scent. Yeah. It's like it just goes hard. It's like satisfying, and it's
right.
Well, it's also I think it's satisfying because it uses the rules against the monsters,
right?
And like it's consistent with the lore that's been set up.
So if you got blood on yourself, you just had to take a shower.
Yeah, basically.
And then the monsters are just chasing the water supply. Like, am I wrong?
Yeah, what if this took place in a universe where homeopaths were right? you know, and the water remembers being Sam's blood.
What if in the past, what if like Dina or someone had donated blood? Are the monsters going to go to the hospital or blood bank that
that's a good
blood
point.
is, and or do they understand that blood is needed for other things?
Yeah.
Like the devil's like, listen, I'm evil, but I'm not about to listen.
Like, I'm a bad guy, but I'm not a bad guy.
Listen, I'm a bad guy.
I may be a demon,
evil.
but I'm not a monster.
Come on, listen, I have some class here, okay?
Yeah.
But you just have to take a shower, right? And then you're good. So technically, in the first movie,
they would still be going after the one person whose blood got on Sarah's
and
bones.
if you got in the way of that, they would then kill you.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was thinking,
well, that was the whole thing with the first one. Like
Mhm.
they were going after like all of them because the monsters were trying to get to Sam.
Mm. But I was trying to say remember the dude who was just like, damn, she's hot.
Oh yeah, Simon.
I mean, if he didn't have any blood on him,
dude, he would definitely fuck that pile of devil goo.
Dude, who wouldn't? I mean,
you gotta wonder, not to be too gross, but if you were to do what he wanted to do, what would it feel like? Again, not to get too gross, but we don't know what temperature that devil goo is. I mean, why would it be body temperature? How do we know it's not room temperature? How do we know that it's not cold and clammy?
I just imagine him fucking shorts on his fucking ankle, yeah. Shuffling slowly.
Yeah.
As she walks down the hall.
Yeah, she's walking away from him towards Sam, and he's like, "Wait, come back.
Hold on
I can fix you."
Wait. Hold on a sec. Fuck you. Yeah, no. Yeah.
I do have a nitpick to get to once we finish talking about the movie itself. But I think the last thing that I wanted to bring up about the movie is how do you feel about the cliffhanger ending? Because it's all wrapped up, and then the last shot, it's in the cave, where the ritual took place, someone grabs the book.
So was that after the credits?
I think it was as the credits were starting.
I didn't see that bit.
Yeah, it's fine. It's basically just a shot of the room where the devil
okay.
Thing
someone steals
happened.
the book allegedly.
Yeah, someone off camera grabs the book, takes it. They're basically teasing a sequel.
And then they went to Washington D.C.
Yeah, no, it's
specifically to the Supreme Court.
I think all of the members of the Supreme Court, well, the Federalist Society ones, they are definitely devil goo people. Yeah. But no, how do you feel about that?
But they kill in a more insidious way.
Yeah.
They make sure you're pregnant first.
Yeah, I know. They kill. Yeah, their murder is more abstract, more premeditated. But I don't like that they're teasing a sequel, because it all wraps up nicely.
I think it wrapped up really nicely. I would kind of a little bit like to see a series with just the brother, having to deal with supernatural things, but also I can see that getting old really quick.
Yeah, it would be kind of fun, basically like a high school sitcom starring the brother, and it's nothing paranormal happens, but he's just dealing with that. Because when I was watching this movie, towards the end, I was imagine living past that.
Imagine knowing now that the Catholics were right.
Imagine knowing one, the devil is real.
Yeah, well,
imagine
the devil is real, which means
not,
by extension that God is real.
Yeah. Well, not just that, but also just imagine that, just in terms of excitement, your life just peaked. Just imagine living past that. That's wild.
like, you don't just see someone's head liquefy in a bread cutter and just go on to eat a grilled cheese.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, you gotta get a therapist.
Yeah. Like that. Oh, that shit's wild.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have
I mean,
PTSD that you can't even really talk about.
I call that, okay, and I hate to be like, it's actually like Star Trek, but it's kind of like Star Trek.
It's just like Star Trek.
It's just like Star Trek, how, like, you go through something so fucking traumatic, and by the end of it, it's like, the next episode, you're fine.
Yeah.
Back to normal. Ship shape.
Yeah.
You literally died, became a new being, flew around before somehow they figured it out, and you became human again.
Yeah.
And you don't feel shit.
Yeah. Dude, shit's wild.
Like, come on. Like, imagine, okay, I swear to God, if they don't become Jehovah's Witnesses after this, because they've definitely witnessed something.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They've witnessed more than what the Jehovah's have.
Yeah, even if it's not like, oh, Christianity is literally true. Like, you gotta live with the knowledge, like, oh, there's some nugget of truth here.
Yeah.
The devil, at least, is real. Or at least something that answers to the devil.
And by extension, God.
Yeah.
Shit.
What do you think would be more frightening? Knowing that the devil exists or knowing that the devil and God exists? Because, like, as far as you know, with just knowing that the devil exists, as far as you know, it could just be the devil and nothing else.
I think those facts in this context wouldn't scare me as much as the amount that I would have to backpedal a lot of things that I've said about organized religion.
Yeah.
Like, I would have to be like, oh, wait, no, wait, hold on. Actually, I've been presented with new information.
In light of new information, my bad.
Oops. It's fine. I made a donation to the church.
Yeah.
They're going to keep my seat warm up there.
Oh, geez.
I guess God takes Bitcoin now.
Yeah. Anyway, I would say best movie ever. However, that's brought into question because I do have one nitpick. It is incredibly minor, but it just bothers me so much. So, you know, the end of the movie, the janitor that helped them out to kill the bad guys, he's like in the school parking lot selling like a new music player.
Yeah, and the lady brings up SSD drives.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate that part. So, well, anyway, to back up, so if you haven't seen the movie, fucking watch the movie. Even though we spoiled it, you're still going to enjoy it. But anyway, he has these like basically huge like bricks with headphones attached. And he's like, yeah, dude, it's awesome. It'll store all your music. And, you know, it's better than a CD player. It doesn't skip or whatever. It's basically like an iPod, but years before the iPod came out. And this girl comes up and she's like, it's too big. You need an SSD and flash compression, and then it'll help with your size problems.
Oh yeah, no, and then they dug up the corpse of Steve Jobs to explain it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Steve Jobs, who wasn't dead at this point.
Steve Jobs. It was Steve Jobs who stole the book.
Yeah, he made a deal with the devil. So here's how it works. Steve Jobs made a deal with the devil to make the iPod happen, and in exchange, all of his employees want to kill themselves. Yeah. Oh.
Turns out, actually, SSDs go against the laws of physics and are actually a product of Satan.
Yeah. But anyway, so before I get into what really bothers me about it, just a nitpick, like a separate side nitpick. The original iPod, actually, I think all of the iPods, like the ones with like the click wheel and the screen, like those didn't use SSDs. Those used small mechanical hard drives. So, like, this girl is...
They only stored 1,000... They only stored about 1,000 songs, which, by modern comparisons...
Did it even start with the ability to store 1,000?
That's what they... I think that's what they started with.
Well, it depends on,
but at that point,
your file compression.
It's like a whole shit ton of songs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a lot, more than you would really feasibly need.
Yeah.
But by modern day comparisons, it's like, that's nothing.
Well, my point is like, she's wrong on that level. You don't need an SSD to make a small portable music player because the iPod used a mechanical hard drive. The same as what this guy has in his music player. It's just miniaturized. So that is just a separate side nitpick. But I don't know if I have the words to express how much it bothers me that she walks up to this guy and she's like, just use an SSD. Like, okay, I last year I watched these movies and that bothered me so much. I looked it up. I believe, like, I don't have exact figures, but to get like just an SSD, you'd have to spend like in the territory of thousands of dollars. And it would be
in 1994 money,
not even like a high capacity drive, anything like that, because they like were very cutting edge at the time. Would she even know what an SSD is?
Right.
And if she did know, she would realize, oh, this is like NASA level shit.
But even then, like, she would only know about it in like a theoretical, like, oh, that is possible. But we're not there yet in manufacturing.
Well, like her walking up to this guy and being like, you need an SSD. Like it's exactly like walking up to someone and you're like, oh, you know, your car doesn't go fast enough. Just like have a Tesla. Just invent a Tesla.
It's like walking up to like a nuclear engineer and being like, oh, you just need to do nuclear fusion and not fission.
It's like just
like,
break the fucking laws of physics.
Right. And
like I don't even have I don't know if I have like a metaphor, like, oh, your phone doesn't charge fast enough. Use a fucking arc reactor. Just get an arc reactor. Like it bothers me so much. The fucking like audacity to be like, use this cutting edge technology that barely exists.
Right. Exactly.
But then she talks about like, she says something along the lines of like, use an SSD and flash compression. By the way, it's all jargon. It basically is meaningless what she is saying. She's basically saying,
so it's just like in Star Trek.
She's like, just have a faster, impossibly small device. Just have a better thing. But she's like, yeah, flash compression will help with your size problems. And I realize it's jargon. It's basically meaningless. But my understanding, and I do have a limited understanding, my understanding is what she is talking about, flash compression, would not help with physical size issues. It would help with data storage size issues, like in terms of like megabytes and gigabytes, like that version of size, like that form of size, it would help, I guess. But it wouldn't make it physically smaller.
But couldn't that potentially mean only needing a smaller amount of storage?
Well, like the amount of storage and the amount of physical space an item takes up, they're not really all that related.
Yeah.
It's more so about like densely packing more like semiconductors or whatever. Again, I have a very limited understanding. It's more so about like densely packing stuff into a fixed amount of size.
Into your butthole, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like all hard drives are, I believe, like, right. Well, like all hard drives, all hard drives are the same. All hard drives are the same physical size, right? But like,
I shit out all of the world's saving SSDs.
You Gavin?
I create them with a Taco Bell and my gut.
I'm almost done. Will you let me finish? Just like your mom did last night. Anyway, like all hard drives are the same size.
Come out of my butt. Yeah.
All hard drives are the same size.
Yeah, they came out of my butt.
Yeah.
All of them.
Okay.
I shit them all out.
All right. Let me. Can I finish my thought? Gavin.
You said you were gonna fuck my mom. God damn it! And I'm not gonna sit here.
Look, I'm a truth teller.
And
what
just
can I say?
be like, oh, okay.
Anyway, all hard drives are physically the same size.
My ass. I eat them. I eat sand. I chew it up. I drink water, and my body makes all the SSDs.
I'm just going to start talking directly to the audience because Gavin, I don't think, is absorbing a word of what I'm saying. So all hard drives are the same physical size, but like the difference between like a 300 gigabyte hard drive and like a 4 terabyte hard drive is
the difference of how much sand I consume.
It's
exactly.
not going to
Thank you.
make the hard drive physically bigger. It's more so about like more densely packing like platters into the
And I must
drive.
say, it's hard to push out some densely packed hard drives.
So when she talks about like flash compression helping with your size issues, it would help with capacity.
My ass to compress these shits.
It might help with capacity, but not physical size.
The toilet doesn't have the capacity for the hard drives that I'm shitting.
And that's all that I will say. And it bothers me so much that
I'm
scene.
so fucking funny, Alex.
But then anyway, she signs Josh's cast. Turns out she's the person he's been talking to online. Turns out they go to the same school. That's neat.
That's really neat.
Kind of ties a bow on it.
Turns out that's Steve Jobs' daughter.
Yeah. She grew up to be Steve Jobs. No, you know what? Actually, I shouldn't give that scene too much shit. Okay, you know why? Because that situation is basically how we got the iPod. Because Apple's engineers were like, Steve, Mr. Jobs, I'm gonna be straight up with you. This shit is impossible. This shit, like you can't make a hard drive this small. And then Steve Jobs was like, Tony Stark built this in a cave. That's basically what he said. He was like,
actually, I have a story for you.
Well, hold on, let me finish this up. So Steve Jobs was basically like, no, but just make it smaller. Just make the iPod, and then they did. So I guess I can't give this girl too much shit. Because that's basically what Steve Jobs did.
I have a story for you, specifically about this, too.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy. So the fucking engineer, like the head engineer who was like in charge of like getting the iPod done, they had made a prototype. Let's just assume this is the prototype, right? And they made a prototype. It's the smallest they could make it. It was the only prototype that they had.
He's holding the remote to my vibrator.
Sure.
For the audio listeners. Because they can't see what you're holding.
Yes, I know. Anyway, he gives it to Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs looks at it. It's about the size of a deck of playing cards. He looks at it and he goes, it needs to be smaller. Like, this is too big. And and the guy said exactly what you said, Alex, which is like, the technology isn't here. We can't just make it smaller. So Steve Jobs, in his rage, like, decides to throw the prototype into a fishbowl that was in his office. And the guy, obviously, the engineer is like flabbergasted because it's the only one that they have. And so Steve Jobs looks at this floundering iPod prototype that's just in his fish tank, and he goes, there's still bubbles coming out of it. There's air inside. Make it smaller.
That's great.
And then he took out his massive hog, slammed it on the table.
Say what you will about Steve Jobs.
That shit's funny.
Guy. What a guy.
That shit's hilarious.
Anyway, to close out Fear Street, TLDR, too long didn't read, whatever.
In some cases, too long didn't watch.
To summarize what happened, Solomon was like,
I fucked Alex's mom hard.
That's not even
last
true.
night.
Solomon was like, yeah, it turns out I'm the one that made the deal with the devil. Oops. And Sarah, I'm kind of throwing you under the bus for this, and you're going to die because of me. And Sarah said,
up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
Although it definitely seems like Jordan Peterson would be the one making the deal with the devil.
Yeah. But no, yeah, that kind of made me chuckle earlier when I was like, I can use that sound and it will fit actually perfectly.
Yeah. Right.
She really said, up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
Verbatim. And then she cited Jordan Peterson as the creator of that quote. And then went on to talk about how bad woke moralists are in the modern futile days of 2022. Jordan Peterson style.
Yeah, Sarah Fear should be considered an honorary member of the intellectual dark web.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'd say best movie ever, despite the flaws with the scene that I nitpicked.
I think what she meant by you need an SSD is you need a super sexy demon.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this girl with a razor. Yeah.
With a razor, dude. Just get her to the party. She's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah. She'll cut your fucking ankles.
Dude, she'll cut your dick off.
Look, if I could speak on behalf of, what was her name? Ruby Lane or something?
I don't know.
If I could speak on behalf of her.
It was something hot, though.
If I could speak on behalf of her, I would say
Damn. But not like shit, damn, like you're relaxed and like oops. It's like, oh, she's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, if I could speak on behalf of anyway.
So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Wait. Let me set up a scene real quick. So fucking Solomon finds Sarah in his little dungeon, satanic altar place.
Yeah.
And she's almost like, why are you doing this? Play the Biden clip.
So the best way to get something done,
Anyway, I actually do have a setup for another sound pad, so bear with me. One part that really bothered me about the movie is how fucking gullible everyone was. All that you had to do was just be like, yeah, I saw Sarah and she was fucking the devil, and people would just believe you.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Like Mad Thomas, the guy whose name is literally Mad Thomas, the guy that everyone knows is just constantly drunk walking around. He's like, yeah, I saw Sarah fucking the devil. And they just, what really bothers me, what really annoys me is he's like, I have evidence. And then he just fucking
At that
lies.
point, everyone should have just been like, shut the fuck up, Thomas.
Well, like, what I imagine is, and keep in mind, this is a setup for a sound pad. After all, that is how I started this. Everyone was like, who should we look to for guidance in this situation? We really need someone to rally us together and tell us who to blame. And then one of them said,
call a crackhead.
How was that? How was that as a setup?
That's a slow burner.
See, you knew it. You knew it was a setup for a sound.
Oh, I know that was a sound. I just didn't know what you were gonna use.
Yeah, you knew that. You knew it was a setup.
Fitting.
But
it's
it was
so fitting.
Yeah.
Find the craziest fucker
Still surprised
around.
you. Yeah.
And yeah, that's the guy.
Look. Sarah Fear, we're gonna hang you because you said this.
We have to keep our country gay.
So we had to
call a crackhead.
And if you in this next one, if you replace black people with Sarah Fear and George Bush with the town of Union, this would be the case.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Correct.
Yeah. Anyway, best movie ever.
What
are we gonna watch next week, Gavin? I almost forgot to ask. It's your turn to pick.
Motherfucker, I'm in college. You think I have time to fucking think about what movie we're gonna watch next?
Okay,
I don't know, Alex.
Is there anything that you've been wanting to watch?
5:30 to finish an assignment, Alex.
Is there anything that you want to watch? Anything that perhaps you would watch anyway, as it is an uphill battle to get you to watch things?
I want to watch my dreams because I just want to fucking sleep, Alex.
Okay. Well, if you don't have any ideas, I have one.
Hit me. I'll just say I'll sign off on it.
So the Jordan Peele movie Nope came out earlier this year.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be good. I haven't seen it yet, but supposedly it's pretty good. I just got it on Blu-ray, so it is on Plex. You can Plex it. So you want to watch it and talk about it next week?
I really hope he makes a sequel to it called Yup.
Yeah.
So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Yeah, anyway. So next week's movie is Nope.
Fear Street 4. Electric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. People like review bombed it on Google. Bunch of 1 stars. Probably people being like, it's too woke.
Probably a bunch of people being like, I don't like black people in my movies.
I mean, that's really what it is.
I mean, come on. I mean,
people have really made it easy to spot white supremacists because it's basically like if they use the word woke a little too much, or if they're like yeah,
even
I didn't like She-Hulk because
context,
it's too woke.
Like even if it's like in the proper context where she like wakes up,
yeah,
like from a nap. They're like, too woke.
Too woke. Everyone in this movie was awake. Anyway.
I'm sorry. She had sex and she was awake. This is too woke.
Jesus. Anyway, let's see what some of the 1 stars
spectrum
are.
Of people.
God, these reviews are long.
I swear to God, there's got to be someone like above me or to the side of me who hears what I'm yelling and is like, what the fuck is this kid saying?
Oh, these reviews are too woke. They're like multiple paragraphs. There are none that are just like, I don't like,
Listen, my daddy was in the Klan.
Oh. Anyway.
Like, it's not even about the Civil War, but they're like, the Civil War was a lost cause.
They needed us anyway. Anyway,
Abraham Lincoln had it coming.
Anyway, we have fun here. I've heard like basically exclusively good things about Nope, so I'm expecting it to be decent.
I don't like the lack of racism.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't get a white guy in the cast until you get to 4th on the list of on the billing. Too woke. Not enough white people.
Too many Jews.
Now, trigger warning, it is 2 hours and 10 minutes. So
it's longer than my cock.
Temporally speaking, yeah.
That is so well played. I did it, Alex.
Yeah.
I made it funny. I did it.
Anyway,
it's
the best way to get something
done. That you hold. I just think it would be so funny if, like, fucking Sarah's at the altar. He walks in. She's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's just like, "When you want to get something done that's near and dear to you, that you want to be able to."
I have one more.
Anyway,
so
I'm gonna kill you now.
So Solomon, he sets up this deal with the devil. As he said, he reaches his hand into the darkness, and he, in exchange for one soul every few years, he gets prosperity. But I bet from the perspective of the person being possessed, like they've got to be saying to themselves,
"I feel like I'm taking crazy pills."
Like, okay,
it's really an art.
Mention,
there's an art.
You don't have to like kill people to get someone's soul to be devoted to Satan. There's a church of Satan.
Yeah,
and I'm sure one of them is suicidal.
Jesus.
Like you can just be like, hey, listen, how about that?
Anyway. All right.
To any prospective employers, that was a joke.
Yeah. So anyway, Fear Street Part 3, best movie ever. Next week's movie, Nope. You want to get to recommendations?
I'd love to. Actually, I have a recommendation to say right now.
Awesome. What is it?
There's another YouTube channel that I've started to... Fuck. Oh, good. Hold on. Another YouTube channel I've started to enjoy. His name is Ben Shapiro. Okay. Hold on. Hang on. Give me a second. His name is Wendigoon.
That sounds familiar. Can you describe?
He does like just plot analysis about like Dante's Inferno and different like horror genre / biblical fan fiction.
Yeah, and if you don't know, audience, Dante's Inferno is basically like where we get our modern idea of hell.
And it's also biblical fan fiction, if you didn't know.
It is biblical fan fiction. That is, it's self-insert
fan
biblical fan fiction too.
Right. That the church was like, yeah, that sounds good.
But yeah, just to get an idea of how factually based religion is, everything that we imagine about hell came from this poem, basically. The Bible doesn't really have a lot of details on what hell is like. So our entire idea of what hell is like, if you factually believe in hell, just know your idea of it came from this piece of fiction, this fan fiction.
Furthermore, if you believe in this description of hell and you're Catholic, you believe in a version of hell that was created by a guy that was excommunicated from the Catholic Church.
Yeah. Anyway, so this channel, Wendigoon.
Yeah, he just does like a lot of really good plot analysis. The way he goes about it is, it's just really good. He has a very good cadence to his voice. He talks a lot about some religious stuff, like religious stories, and just the way he goes about it is very, really non-partisan, apolitical. Very just like, this is what the story's saying. This is how it can be described.
Oh, they did a video on the back rooms. I love the back rooms as like just a like not even just a horror setting, just as like there's like it's scary, you know, in some circumstances, but also it can be viewed as like a weirdly peaceful thing.
Yeah.
I love liminal spaces and that kind of stuff.
Anyway, Wendigoon, him, watch him.
Yeah, it's like
Love
Wendigo, like the
Find
Native
him.
American legend, but with goon at the end.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to spell it.
Yeah.
Link in description. I will
Link is
actually
up there.
I will.
The link is up my ass. You have to reach to get it.
Yeah. I am going to put
Joke's
the
on
link.
you. I'm into that shit.
I'm putting the link in the show notes right now so I don't forget. But anyway, so Gavin, last week we talked about how Fallout 3 is free on the Epic Game Store. Now, unfortunately, when this episode comes out, that will have expired yesterday. But as of today, when we're recording, it's still free on Epic. So this one is really just targeted towards Gavin specifically.
Are you just telling me to get on my Steam account and just get it?
Not Steam, Epic. So you'll need to download the Epic Games Launcher, make an account if you don't have one, and then claim Fallout 3. Game of the Year edition, so it has all the DLC and everything.
What if I'm just into the lore but not the game?
You said that you wanted to play it.
That was before it had school.
Look, it's a fun game. Play it when you have the time. Look, at least just claim it. You don't have to install it. You don't have to play it. Just add it to your account.
Just to spite you, I'm not going to do it.
Okay, fine. You're only depriving yourself.
Specifically because go fuck yourself.
Although, if you subscribe to patreon.com/Alex Myers, you will be able to get early access to episodes. Basically, the day we record them, I get them polished and put up. So subscribe for $1.
But we all know you're here for my pretty voice anyway, so...
Yeah, well, Gavin doesn't have a Patreon, so you'll have to settle for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point of that is give me money, and I will tell you when Epic is free on the Epic, or when Fallout 3 is free on Epic, before it is taken off.
You sound like a priest.
Yeah.
Give me money.
Give me money. God says you have to give me money.
I shovel it into a fire that keeps your seat warm in heaven.
Yeah. Anyway, my other recommendation, I've been getting back into comics. I've been reading the Amazing Spider-Man series. It's pretty good. I really like comics as a medium. You know, I like the episodic nature of it. It's fun to like hold a comic book in your hand. I like it. It's actually like now is a pretty good time to get into Marvel Comics because they're doing a lot of like number ones, quote unquote. It's kind of weird how they've done numbering for comics. So like the Amazing Spider-Man has had a number of number one issues, quote unquote. And it was kind of confusing for a while because back in like 2018-ish, 2017, 2018, they were doing like the like Marvel Now.
Your Mom.
They were doing Your Mom, and they were doing what they called Marvel Now, which was basically their attempt at sort of a universal reset. So they were trying to get people to read comics, and they're like, "Hey, look, it's Spider-Man #1." But it was really like Spider-Man number 786, you know? So it's confusing for longtime readers if you're like going by like what's now referred to as the legacy number. But yeah, they were doing like new number ones. I like how they're doing it now where like, you know, as an example, you know, this is the Amazing Spider-Man number 8. So it's
for the viewers, he's holding up a naked picture of his mother.
It's actually Gavin's mother.
It's actually his mother. I know what his mom looks like.
Gavin can't tell the difference because he's fucking blind. But anyway, so for example, that's the Amazing Spider-Man, quote unquote, number 8. It's really just the 8th issue in this current run. But it also has the legacy number. So the legacy number is 902. So it's the 902nd
cut this out.
Spider-Man comic.
You're
What?
just gonna cut my fucking audio out. This bit. You're gonna just fucking.
But anyway, my point is it's a good time to get into comics. I think they're doing a lot of sort of status quo resets. Like, I know for a while they had Peter Parker be like the head of his own corporation. People didn't really like that, but now it's like sort of back to the status quo because he's like a broke single dude just trying to make his way in the world or whatever. But also like there are a lot of changes to the status quo. But you know, it's
Peter Parker also takes on a third alias as a porn star named Peter Pecker.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like familiar yet different enough that it's not you're not just reading like the same old stuff, but there is like, you know, a degree of familiarity and like accessibility, and I like that. Yeah. Like this run is pretty good. I've been reading the series that started this April, and like you can get the first volume with the first 5 issues, the second volume with the second 5 that's coming out next month. But yeah, it's a good time to get into Spider-Man comics, and I recommend it. If you've tried reading comics digitally, like on your phone or an iPad, it's like it's not the same as reading like a physical comic book. So if you didn't like reading digitally, you might like reading like the physical books, which also come with digital editions. Like you can get a digital copy for free with your like physical copy, kind of like how they do with movies now.
And then you can totally just do the snipping tool and just get it, like send it anyway.
Yeah, pirate. I can't condone piracy.
I can't either, but I totally can.
Yeah. Anyway, we have fun here.
We do.
Yeah. I have a video recommendation. This is Why Queer TV is Getting Worse from, what's the channel? From Verily Bitchy on YouTube. Link in description. The video basically talks about like, one part of the video is talking about like biphobia and about how like a lot of movies and TV don't really do bisexual representation because like it's kind of lose-lose, because like straight people don't like bi people because they think they're gay, and gay people don't like bi people because they think they're straight. And they're like it's a pretty like looked down upon group. And so like, you know, the profit motive in media, and it's talked about in the video, the profit motive in media stops artists from being able to like tell bisexual stories because you can't sell it as well. Mm-hmm. And the video talks about how one of like the BBC sort of channel, it was like Channel 4 or something, one of the shows in Britain, since it's like publicly funded and it's meant to be like a queer representation kind of channel, like it's allowed more artistic freedom to like tell stories like by and for that group. Partially because like they're just not allowed to pivot away from that because like their funding is meant for, you know, this thing, you know, but also they don't really have any motivation or incentive to pivot away from that kind of more niche stuff because they don't have a profit motive. They're not supposed to make a profit. They're just supposed to create art. And it's a good exploration of that kind of stuff. Link in description. And I don't know about you, but I think that's the show then.
I would say so.
You know, not to be so bold, but I think so. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Bold of You to Say. If you liked it, then like it. If you subscribe, then subscribe. Share the show with a friend. Tweet our episodes, tweet our clips. Our clips channel is in the description. Join our Discord. We actually got someone in the Discord that found one of our clips on YouTube, and they joined the Discord. And they liked the show, and I like that people.
That's neat. I think that's neat. I think that, you know, wow, that makes me think of how when.
Anyway. So join the Discord, send memes, inflate our egos.
Inflate our assets, even.
Yeah. Can we get big enough that we can create our own crypto to pump and dump?
You know, help us commit tax fraud.
Help us go on the Logan Paul pipeline.
Help us make bad worse.
Yeah. Follow me on social media. Don't follow Gavin anywhere.
Do not follow me.
Quite frankly, it's unwise. You don't want to.
I will find you and I will hug you.
Trust me.
I don't think I won't.
Yeah.
I'll hug you. I'll hug your pets. I'll hug your parents.
Yeah.
I'll hug them.
He'll fuck your mom.
No, I stop at hugging, but
he'll hug your mom.
I'll hug him.
Yeah. Anyway, play the show out loud at work. Just get anyone who has ears
cause a
that
public
work.
disturbance with our, with our podcast.
Yeah. Look, bottom line, anyone that can listen to the show should and will.
Fuck it. Violate your local sound ordinance with the sound of our podcast.
Yeah. Invent a new form of speaker that can play this show loud enough that everyone can hear it.
Make a speaker that's so loud you can hear it in space.
Yeah. Even though sound can't travel in space, just fucking do it. Just put an SSD in there.
Yeah, just make it.
Yeah, just fucking do it. Anyway, subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Turn on notifications, turn on automatic downloads. And let's get the fuck out of here. Let's get the hell out of Dodge.
And leave. Let's get out of there.
Let's leave while we still can.
Let's just leave.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Very true. Thank you, Kanye.
Yes. Thank you. But not for the anti-Smeg stuff. That's bad.